In this video, I want to talk about why cognitive empathy fatigue is the silent killer of neurodiverse marital bonds. Now, there's a point in many neurodiverse marriages when the neurotypical partner says something like, "Oh, I'm tired of explaining why this hurts. I can't keep translating every emotion. I don't have the energy to help you understand anymore." And then the autistic partner may respond with, "Well, I'm trying, but I still don't know what you want. Or you keep changing the rules, or nothing I do seems to be enough." Now, at this stage, both partners may believe that they've reached a terrible conclusion. One person doesn't care, and the other person can never be satisfied. Ah, that's painful. But that may not be what's happening at all. The marriage may have reached a wall because the neurotypical partner's cognitive empathy reserves have been depleted. They've spent months, perhaps years, or even decades interpreting, explaining, translating, anticipating, softening, and repairing, and eventually they no longer have enough emotional or mental energy to keep bridging the neurological gap. I've lost track of the times neurotypical wives have said to me, "I am burnt out." And that's what I call cognitive empathy fatigue. It can become a silent killer of neurodiverse marital bonds because it doesn't always look dramatic. It may not begin with an affair or a major betrayal or one explosive argument. No, it often appears as emotional exhaustion, shorter explanations, increased irritation, less affection, and a growing refusal to keep trying. The neurotypical partner begins to think, if you don't understand by now, you never will. And then the autistic partner begins to think, well, if nothing I do works, why should I keep trying? And he stops. He gives up. The relationship doesn't necessarily end because love disappears. It begins to die because the system the couple has been using requires more empathy, interpretation, and emotional labor than either partner can sustainably provide. The solution is not to demand even more emotional processing. The solution is to build a relationship that requires less translation. So today, we're going to talk about how cognitive empathy fatigue develops, how it fuels high conflict cycles, and how couples can begin replacing emotional guesswork with structured accommodations and functional logic-based scripts. This is not about removing emotion from the marriage. It's about creating enough structure that emotion no longer has to do all the work. Okay, so what is cognitive empathy? Empathy is often discussed as though it were one single ability. Either you have empathy or you don't. Okay, well, that's way too simplistic. Emotional empathy is the ability to emotionally resonate with another person's experience. You sense their sadness, their tension, their excitement, fear, sometimes before they say anything. Now, cognitive empathy is different. It's the ability to understand another person's internal experience through conscious perspective taking. It involves asking questions such as, what might this person be feeling? What meaning did they assign to what happened? What expectation did I miss? What response would have helped them feel understood? Now, for many autistic people, cognitive empathy may require deliberate mental effort. The feeling of care may be present, but interpreting facial expressions, indirect language, shifting expectations, or unspoken emotional meaning may not happen automatically. Now, for many neurotypical partners, social and emotional interpretation may feel more intuitive. They may notice subtle changes in tone, subtle changes in posture or facial expression or timing or conversational rhythm. Because these signals seem obvious to them, they assume that their autistic partner is noticing them too. That assumption is dangerous. The neurotypical partner thinks, whoa, you could see that I was overwhelmed. And the autistic partner thinks, well, you said you were fine. The neurotypical partner thinks, well, you should have known I needed comfort. Then the autistic partner thinks, well, you told me you wanted peace. The neurotypical partner experiences the missed cue as indifference. The autistic partner experiences the criticism as punishment for failing the test they didn't know they were taking. Over time, the neurotypical partner may take responsibility for translating more and more of the emotional world of the marriage. They explain not only what they feel, but why they feel it, what caused it, what their partner missed, what the preferred response would have been, and how the same situation should be handled next time. Now, that may work for a while, but cognitive empathy has a cost. Now let's talk about how understanding has a daily limit. We frequently talk about patience as if it were a character trait. We speak about empathy as though a loving person should be able to produce an unlimited supply. But empathy depends on available nervous system resources. When a person is rested, feels safe, supported, and emotionally connected, perspective taking is easy. When that same person is stressed, sleep deprived, overloaded, grieving, parenting, working, recovering from repeated conflict, understanding someone else's perspective becomes way harder. Cognitive empathy is not a bottomless well. It has a daily limit, and this applies to both partners. An autistic partner may spend the day using enormous amounts of cognitive energy to interpret people at work, tolerate sensory stimulation, manage unexpected changes, organize tasks, suppress visible distress, and follow social expectations. By the time they get home, the cognitive resources needed to interpret another complicated emotional message is depleted. The neurotypical partner may spend the day managing responsibilities while also carrying the emotional and relational awareness of the household. They may monitor tension, anticipate problems, remember social obligations, initiate difficult conversations, and continuously adjust their communication to prevent misunderstandings. By the evening, they may have nothing left with which to translate one more unmet need. Both people can reach the same wall from different directions. The autistic partner may lose access to flexible thinking, spontaneous reassurance, or perspective taking, and the neurotypical partner may lose access to patience, curiosity, generosity, or the ability to explain their needs calmly. This is when couples' worst interpretations become louder. You don't care. Well, you're impossible to please. Well, you're selfish. Well, you're controlling. Well, you're too sensitive. Well, you're emotionally unavailable. Now, these statements may sound like descriptions of character, but they're often signs of depleted capacity. Once the couple understands this, the question changes. Instead of asking, well, which one of us is the bad partner? They can ask, what is our current interaction demanding from two nervous systems that have already exceeded their capacity? That's a much more useful question. Now let's talk about the high conflict cycle. Let's look at how cognitive empathy fatigue creates a repeating conflict cycle. The neurotypical partner feels hurt, lonely, unsupported. They approach the autistic partner and attempt to explain the experience. They begin calmly. However, because this subject has been discussed so many times before, the conversation already contains accumulated pain. The autistic partner hears a large amount of emotional information. They may attempt to identify the central problem, but the message includes history, tone, examples, implications, and requests for emotional recognition. The autistic partner becomes overwhelmed or defensive. They may focus on factual inaccuracies, question the neurotypical partner's interpretation, or offer a solution too quickly, or he may just get the hell out of there. The neurotypical partner experiences this response as further evidence of emotional neglect. See, there he goes again. They intensify the explanation, believing if they can make the pain sufficiently clear, their partner will finally understand. Really? The increased intensity creates more cognitive overload. The autistic partner becomes even less able to provide the response being requested. They may become rigid, shut down, leave the room, or say something very cruel. The neurotypical partner then feels abandoned at the exact moment they were trying to create connection. Eventually, the conflict is no longer about the original event. No. It becomes a battle over whether one person's emotional reality is valid and whether the other person is morally defective. Now, both partners leave the conversation injured, and this goes on for years and years and years and years. The neurotypical partner may think, I have to beg for basic empathy. The autistic partner thinks, I'm attacked every time I fail to react correctly. I'm living in a landmine here. The next time the neurotypical partner is hurt, they enter the conversation with less patience and more urgency. The autistic partner enters with more anxiety and more defensiveness. The cycle becomes faster, harsher, and more predictable. Now, traditional communication advice often tells the couple to sit down, open up, explore your feelings, listen empathically, stay in the conversation until you reach some emotional resolution, use I feel statements. How about some love languages? Now, let's talk about the neurotypical partner's breaking point. The neurotypical partner's exhaustion is often misunderstood because they may continue functioning long after they have become emotionally depleted. They may continue coordinating schedules, maintaining the household, remembering appointments, explaining social situations, initiating affection, planning family events, and repairing conflict. Now, from the outside, they appear capable. She's fine. Internally, however, they may be experiencing profound relational burnout. They're no longer simply expressing their own feelings. Now, they're trying to predict how those feelings must be worded so their partner will not become defensive. They're deciding how much context to provide, which examples to avoid, what time of day is safest, how direct should I be, how to regulate their own emotional expression while doing it. They're not merely having a conversation anymore. They're designing the conditions under which a conversation might be possible. And when this becomes a permanent responsibility, guess what? You got it. Resentment grows. The neurotypical partner may begin thinking, why do I have to do all this work just to be heard? The question deserves a serious answer. They shouldn't have to carry the entire interpretive burden of the relationship. Accommodating neurological differences doesn't mean one person must endlessly suppress themselves, translate everything perfectly, and accept chronic emotional loneliness. An accommodation is sustainable only when it protects both people. The autistic partner needs communication that is explicit, manageable, and concrete, while the neurotypical partner needs responsiveness, shared responsibility, and evidence that their inner world matters. Both are legitimate. Now, let's talk about what the autistic partner may be experiencing. The autistic partner's experience must also be understood accurately. A person can care deeply and still struggle to demonstrate that care in the expected moment. During conflict, the autistic partner may be trying to process several questions simultaneously. What exactly happened? Or which part of this am I supposed to respond to? Or am I being asked to apologize or explain or listen or fix something? Now, if I agree with the feeling, am I also agreeing with every accusation? What response is expected here? Will anything I say make this worse? This mental activity can create a delay that the neurotypical partner interprets as coldness. The autistic partner may also have difficulty accessing language while emotionally flooded. They may understand the conversation more clearly several hours later, but by that point, the neurotypical partner has already experienced the silence as abandonment. Some autistic partners learn scripts for emotional situations, but those scripts may be rejected because they're insincere, they're manufactured, they're disingenuous. The neurotypical partner may say, "You're only saying that because I told you to say it." Well, that may be true, but it doesn't necessarily mean their response is meaningless. We use scripts throughout life, okay, people? We use them at weddings, funerals, workplaces, medical appointments, and moments of crisis. A script is not automatically deceptive. A script can bridge between genuine care and difficulty expressing that care spontaneously. If someone learns that saying, "I can see why that hurts you," helps their partner feel safer, the fact that they learned that sentence deliberately doesn't cancel the love behind their effort. Spontaneity is not the only evidence of sincerity, okay? Consistency matters too. Now, let's talk about stop making empathy the entrance exam for love. Many neurodiverse couples unintentionally make intuitive empathy the entrance exam for love. The neurotypical partner says, "Well, if you loved me, you would know." The autistic partner thinks, "Well, if you loved me, you would accept that I don't always know." Both statements contain understandable pain, but neither gives the couple a workable path forward. Love does not automatically produce identical neurological processing. A loving autistic partner may still miss indirect cues. A loving neurotypical partner may still become exhausted from being explicit. A loving relationship therefore needs more than good intention. It needs infrastructure. You would not build a bridge by repeatedly asking the two sides of a river to move closer together. You would construct something reliable between the two. That's what structured accommodation does. It reduces the amount of real-time mind reading required by both partners. Now let's talk about moving from emotional demands to structured requests. An emotional demand often sounds like this: "I need you to be more emotionally available." The request is valid, but it's difficult to operationalize. What does emotionally available mean at 7:30 on a Tuesday evening? A structured request might sound like this: "You know what, when I tell you I've had a difficult day, please put your phone down, look towards me and maybe ask me whether I need some comfort or some help or just some quiet company." Now the autistic partner has some recognizable action. He's got something to finally work with. Another emotional demand might be, "I need you to care more about our relationship." A more structured version of that could be, "I would like us to have a 20-minute check-in every Sunday evening. During that time, each of us will name one thing that went well, one difficult moment, and one request for the coming week." That structure doesn't cheapen the emotional need, it gives the need somewhere to land. Consider the difference between saying, "Will you never support me?" and saying, "When I'm visibly upset, please begin with, 'I'm here. Do you want me to listen or help you solve? Please don't debate the facts until I tell you I'm ready.'" Now, that sentence doesn't guarantee perfect emotional attunement, but it does create a repeatable form of support. A functional script is not a replacement for intimacy. It's a pathway into intimacy. If this resonated, comment. I will read and respond to your comment. Also, please like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you. Hey guys, this is Mark. Some of you may not know that I have a lot of books on Amazon. So if you like my videos, you'll like my books. I have several for ASD spouses, for NT spouses, and for the neurodiverse couple. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this link. Feel free to click on that link and see what's available. I'm sure you'll find something that applies to you. So if you're struggling in your neurodiverse marriage, help is available, one click away.